Smoked cocktails have never been easier to make thanks to our Halo Drink Smoker. Simply place the cocktail smoker on your glass, light the wood chips until they start to smoke, and then top it off with the lid to infuse your drink with a delicious, new, smoky flavor.
Welcome to the Turnpike Sports Spotlight. Dave Weishuttle with you. I am excited to talk to our next guest because every time he's on the show, he gives some great information. And we're going to be talking about something that's been in the news a lot lately, and that is the tourism slump that is occurring in Las Vegas at the moment. Lots of people are asking what this means for Las Vegas and the country itself. Our next guest is the perfect person to ask. John Boyd is the principal of the Boyd Company, which provides independent site selection counsel to companies in the U.S. and around the world. Some of those clients include J.P. Morgan, Boeing, Chase, Pepsi, UPS, Progressive, and a whole bunch of Fortune 500 companies. And John Boyd is on the line with us right now. John, welcome back to the show.
Dave, it's great to be with you.
It's always great to have you on. And as I said in the introduction, the Boyd Company works with some of the biggest corporations on the planet. But for people who aren't familiar with the Boyd Company, tell us about the Boyd Company and your firm's work with some of the biggest companies in the world.
Well, Dave, that was a great intro. We advise major corporations where to locate their facilities throughout North America, but we also help some of the nation's top developers plan new projects around the country. We've been very active in casino markets over the years, very active in Las Vegas, in Reno, and Lake Tahoe. We provided economic development and real estate counsel to a number of Native American tribes in Nevada, Arizona, and California. And as you know, Dave, I'm a Jersey guy. It's been a big part of the year on the Jersey Shore in Margate, so I'm tuned in and connected to what's happening in Atlantic City.
Great. And you know, in my introduction and also off the air before we jumped on air, we said a lot of people are talking about the tourism slump, especially in Las Vegas. But I want to ask you before we get into the particular numbers, is this so-called slump part of the ebb and flow of this nation's economy, or are there new things at play here that people should be paying attention to?
Well, there are a number of reasons why we're seeing this slump in Vegas tourism. Now 6 months in a row of declining tourism. I mean, what does that mean? It means less money spent in restaurants and retail, hotels, entertainment, less money spent on casino floors and sports books. Mm-hmm. For workers, it means less tips. Okay, so Vegas tourism down about 10% versus this time last year. Some of the big reasons why you're hearing is the decline in global tourism, particularly Canadian tourism, which is down about 40% versus this time last year. It's also less California traffic, coming down I-15 because of the high gas prices in California and the inflation and the affordability crisis impacting Southern California. But I think an interesting point to make here, Dave, is that Vegas isn't alone here with respect to major tourism destinations being impacted by slumping numbers. We're seeing similar phenomena in Orlando and in Miami and in Seattle and in Los Angeles and in New York, not to the degree of Vegas, but declining tourism nonetheless. And it has to do also with just how greedy resorts have gotten. Okay, I mean, this idea of just squeezing every dollar out of you, and you're in trouble when TikTok and Instagram influencers turn on you. One of the most popular hashtags now is, the no buy 25 movement. Okay, and just how popular staycations are. And influencers now trading, that Instagram pic by the pool and the $40, margarita, with sort of mocking the whole experience, saying, what a ripoff it's gotten. And so hopefully the casinos and the resorts and the hotels are beginning to pay attention to this and respond accordingly.
Let's throw out some numbers, especially for Vegas. I mean, the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Bureau said in June, 3.1 million people visited the city, and that's down like over 11% from the prior year. And it didn't get much better in July because Harry Reid National Airport reported that passenger traffic was in, as you said, its sixth straight month of decline. It's like something like 5.7% decline from last year in July. Now, those are really significant numbers in my eyes. And when I was a younger guy, I always thought of Vegas as a fun, cheap place to go for a couple of days. Is that perception lately starting to be incorrect? I mean, has Vegas changed that much in people's eyes that they're not thinking like that anymore?
Of course. And when you combine that with, the affordability crisis so many Americans are dealing with, when you think about the geopolitical tensions that are making global tourism more challenging. And then another factor that isn't talked about much is the movement back to return to office. Mm-hmm. People have less flexibility with their schedules than they did 2 or 3 years ago. Okay, corporations and companies are scaling back travel budgets. Okay, they're attending, ICSC and some of the other top trade shows, but maybe they're only going to spend 2 or 3 days versus the whole week. Maybe they're only going to do 1 or 2 expensive dinners versus 3 or 4. All of that has an impact on these figures.
Mm-hmm. I got to start off with the cost of things. And regardless of what one political party is saying, things in this country are getting more expensive, whether it be food, air travel, service industry. And all these things that I just mentioned are really critical for the economic health of Las Vegas. Is that the thing we have to look at first when we think of Las Vegas isn't getting the tourism numbers that we've seen in the past? I mean, even hotel occupancy rates are down like 6.5%. Is the cost of things the stepping off point to determine why people aren't visiting Vegas in the numbers that they have been? Because the numbers, the cost of things, we're both New Jersey guys. Can you believe the price of pizza in Las Vegas? It's been ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. And even before you get to Vegas, I mean, how about a cheeseburger and a glass of Cabernet in the airport is now like $60. I mean, so and tourism markets, Vegas in particular, tends to feel the crunch earlier than most other markets of concerns about the economy, high financing rates, inflation, the affordability crisis. A couple of kind of bright spots here though with respect to Vegas, and Vegas has reinvented itself so many times before. Okay, what's different today versus 25 years ago? The Vegas population has doubled, more than doubled. Okay, 3 million residents. The consumer purchasing power in Las Vegas today versus 25 years ago is just a real juggernaut, an economic force. So the fundamentals are in place. You have a very positive state business climate with respect to the pro-business tax climate. It's pro-business tort climate, and a number of growth industries, the energy industry, the medical tourism industry, multimedia, and experience-based retail. So the fundamentals are in place for a turnaround. I really think the message has to get through in this idea, this reversal of being perceived as being greedy and actually being greedy, and having goodwill in the community will go a long way. And look, professional sports, you can't ignore that.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. You think about the importance of diversifying the economy. This puts an exclamation point on how critical these professional sports franchises are, not just housing home games, but being anchors in billion-dollar year-round real estate development projects.
That's what one of the figures I found fascinating, and I really saw that when I was looking at these numbers, tourism versus how much money everyone is making. I mean, the fact that the locals of Las Vegas are really bolstering the casino industry in Vegas is more than ever. I mean, the Las Vegas Strip, where tourists usually think of going, their revenue dropped by about 4%. However, the local casinos in Clark County off the Strip set new monthly revenue records. I mean, certainly tourism is important.
Laughlin, right.
Yeah, it's just absolutely it's amazing.
Henderson.
I mean, it's just great to see that the local economy is being bolstered by the local inhabitants.
I love that you mentioned that. And, a quick point to that is you think about how much more walkable the Strip could be.
Yeah.
Okay. Just like the constant construction, the different types of zoning, how the entrance points to different properties, make the Strip not as walkable as it could be. Mm-hmm. More people movers. I mean, what a fundamental, very basic infrastructure investment. More people movers to create more walkability that you see in some of the other successful markets you just mentioned.
I was half joking in the other question when I started off by saying what one political party is saying, but let me ask you this, because you do a lot of business in Nevada and you know the state very well. Is the political climate right now affecting tourism? I know a lot of people who live in Vegas, and you mentioned this too. I wasn't sure if they were joking, but now that you mentioned it, maybe I should pay more attention to them. They said, yeah, the tourism is down because the Canadian visitors aren't coming. So certainly political climates can affect business, but how much effect do they have on tourism in this country, and specifically Las Vegas?
It's very significant. I mean, Air Canada is reducing flights to Vegas. Canadian tourism is down significantly, because of the rhetoric back and forth. I saw a recent poll that said almost half of Canadians have canceled planned vacations to the U.S. I mean, that's significant. That's Vegas, of course, not alone. Seattle is also losing a lot of Canadian tourism. Miami and Orlando have seen dips in Canadian tourism. It's everything. It's the concerns, the geopolitical concerns that exist right now. But on a federal level, Trump is in a position to really help Las Vegas during the state of Nevada. I mean, if you recall during the last election, the famous no tax on tips.
Sure.
Okay, he's also pledged to release more land. Okay, one of the unique challenges that Nevada faces is just how hard it is to bring units to market. Mm-hmm. It's not just the high construction costs and concerns about tariffs and the high financing rates. It's also the lack of available land.
Okay.
So there are things that can happen with zoning and permitting, and Trump is preparing to do a national initiative on affordable housing. Mm-hmm. I think he is able to sense the zeitgeist, the national mood here, and concerns about affordability with respect to housing. He'll have an opportunity there to do some things, I think, in conjunction with leaders at the state and regional level in Nevada and in Las Vegas and in Reno, to help make it easier to bring more units to market.
Should we start thinking about Las Vegas differently and analyzing it differently? I mean, in the past we've talked about Atlantic City and how they would get out of economic distress, and one of the things Atlantic City did was diversify what they offer to visitors. Is that in the plans for Vegas? I mean, certainly they have great restaurants, they have great shows and concerts, and now they have professional sports teams, as you mentioned. I mean, sometimes we look at economic slumps. They're a very small part of the fiscal year. Will we have to start looking at Vegas in a different way, seeing the big picture with these big events? I mean, Vegas just had record numbers at the World Series of Poker. They have UFC fights, they have wrestling, they have the F1 coming up. I mean, should we be looking at the big picture instead of looking at the smaller time periods?
It really just puts the focus back on how important it is to have a diversified economy. And to Vegas's credit, you've had really effective, at the regional level, very smart economic development professionals over the years that have had highly successful initiatives to diversify into high-tech industries. I mentioned the energy industry earlier. I mentioned healthcare and medical tourism, the Lou Ruvo Brain Center, which is one of the top brain research centers in North America. You have that UNLV, which has emerged as a real academic powerhouse, not just a party school anymore.
Sure.
Okay, it's a magnet for talent and for faculty and for research dollars and venture capital. So that in conjunction with just the explosion of growth and spending power in the local market, it has, is going to create opportunities to really pivot once the economy strengthens, once a lot of this uncertainty goes away. We're overall long term extremely bullish on the market. One thing we'd like to see is the legislature wise up with respect to film credits.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mentioned some of our clients over the years, the Howard Hughes Corporation, a longtime client of ours. Their deal to do the film studio was contingent upon those film incentives, which the legislature did not do. In retrospect now, with 6 months of national focus on declining tourism numbers and this reminder of how important diversification is, I bet they wish they could have that vote over again and have $1 billion film studio, especially when you look at all the success that states like Texas and Oklahoma and New Jersey have had in luring billions of dollars of film industry out of that's leaving California. Hard to think of a better spot than Vegas, given the proximity, given so much of the talent and skill sets in that market. You put those incentives on board, and a real powerhouse developer like Howard Hughes, my gosh, what a film capital potential Vegas would have.
It's certainly not going to get easier for Vegas in the near future because gamblers and accountants and lawmakers are saying that a provision in the big, beautiful bill that was just recently signed in law could possibly mean some big tax bills for gamblers. I know Senator Masto in Nevada said is going to do irreparable harm to our nation's gaming industry if the law takes effect. And I know the Boyd Company does work in Nevada. Do you see a shift in the state to maybe not become as dependent on tourism as it has been in the past? I mean, it's an incredible state. It's got incredible universities, as you said, incredible resources. And certainly I'm not saying it's going not depend on tourism, but maybe shift its focus. I mean, do you see the future of the state looking not to rely as heavily on tourism and maybe lean on some different industries in the state for revenue?
Yes, and the Las Vegas Global Economic Alliance, I mean, they're highly regarded. They do a great job targeting industry opportunities. Now, I think the corporate headquarters arena has enormous potential, particularly global corporate headquarters companies that want a brick and mortar presence in the U.S. Think about all the tax and legal advantages that a Las Vegas address would bring to the table. That's something I think to feel good about and excited about in the years ahead. With respect to that provision in the big beautiful bill, what really makes that extra concerning is just how difficult it is for the casinos to get people off their couch.
Yeah,
okay? And to get in their car and park and rather than just gamble in their pajamas on their at home.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I was talking to a friend of mine who works in the casino industry here in New Jersey, and we got to talking about Las Vegas and maybe why people aren't going there in the numbers that they have been. And we got to the point where we've come to the conclusion, and as strange as this may sound, the casino industry is hurting Las Vegas. I mean, there are so many states with so many casinos that the lure of Vegas seems to be waning. I mean, I've talked to people who in the past have visited Las Vegas a lot. I mean, they traveled there so many times, and they said, well, why would I need to go to Las Vegas? I have a local casino here. It's a lot cheaper. I can sit on my couch, as you said, and play slots for real money. And the same goes with sports betting. I mean, people can sit at home and bet from their couch. I mean, last month, Nevada was the 6th state for handle across the country in sports betting. I mean, are people's attitudes to casinos changing? I mean, are casinos becoming a lot more convenient for people when they don't have to go to Las Vegas for a good time at a casino?
You're right. I mean, the casino industry today has really become so mainstream. It's now part of mixed use real estate development projects around the country. Who would think that we'd be talking about a casino in Times Square?
Yeah.
or the Bronx, or next to Citi Field, okay, Steve Cohn's proposal with Hard Rock. Mm-hmm. I mean, casinos, so you think about what this new mandate is for real estate development projects, live, work, play. Now it's live, work, play, learn, right, with the university component, and gamble, okay? So it's really a ubiquitous part of real estate now, the casino. And that's not lost on Las Vegas. That's why they've really made the experience over the years so much more than just gambling, with a lot of the virtual experiences that other markets are really using as a model. Okay, and a lot of the experience-based gambling and retail experiences, and those synergies with e-commerce.
Yeah.
I mean, most most teenagers today get not just their media and news content and entertainment, but they're also shopping, okay, as they're playing video games. That's really the next wave, and we've talked about what a great thing Stockton has been for Atlantic City, particularly downtown Atlantic City. This software development and synergies with the gaming industry and software and for video games, I think is very, very exciting. Not just esports, but as a new generator of high-paying jobs and STEM education.
I know the Poker Palace is closing on October 1st, and the Golden Gate is the first casino in Las Vegas to drop all their table games. Is that one of the signs that Vegas is starting to do business in a different way? Can we expect more changes from Las Vegas like what we are seeing right now to address that issue?
Absolutely. And also, the other sign to look at is the True Locals program. Mm-hmm. Okay, Fontainebleau, which has been struggling, has some new rewards specifically targeting Nevada residents. Okay, with all sorts of discounts for dining and entertainment, of course, free parking.
Yeah,
I think we're going to see a lot more of that in the months ahead.
Before I mentioned the F1 in Vegas, which is coming up in November, and I know Atlantic City's future may have some racing involved. I know you have some great information on the future of Atlantic City. Not to switch gears to Atlantic City, excuse the pun, but what are some of the local things that you see happening for Atlantic City in the near future, especially like when it comes to racing and things like that? I remember you posted about Bader Field a couple years ago, which is an incredible piece of land in Atlantic City.
I love Atlantic City. I spent a lot of time on the Jersey Shore. You mentioned Bader Field. I think that's one of the most exciting redevelopment opportunities in the Northeast. Okay, when you think about just the storied history of that property. I mean, the nation's first municipal airport. Okay, there's that magnificent view of the Atlantic City skyline. Obviously, there's some engineering and environmental and permitting challenges that have made that kind of difficult, particularly with respect to how difficult it can be to do business with Trenton.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, there's a proposal that has the mayor's stamp of approval for a race-centric mixed-use development project. Love to see it happen. A lot of parochial thinkers and kind of like to sort of just mock opportunities in Atlantic City. Of course, that Dean proposal beat out a couple of other proposals that a lot of locals would have preferred. But look, I think you have to support this and hope it happens. Mm-hmm. Okay, I mean, I can't think of a more exciting anchor than racing right now. That's been a hallmark of high growth areas. You think about you mentioned the Vegas F1, but also Miami, Austin, Montreal. It's a way to sort of elevate the brand and create some regionalism opportunities also. And one thing about Atlantic City, though, it really all goes back to good governance. Okay, without safe streets, okay, without fixing the potholes, more lights on the boardwalk, redevelopment becomes much more difficult than it should be. Some of the most cost-effective oceanfront real estate in North America. Okay, there's no reason it cannot be really benefiting from these same live, work, play opportunities that we see in Coney Island or Asbury Park.
We don't have a lot of time left, John, but I want to ask you if you're working on anything big for the Boyd Company that you want to share with us. I know you do a lot of work in Nevada and you're doing amazing things out there. Is there anything you want to share about what we can look forward to from the Boyd Company next?
This year is our 50th anniversary.
Wow, congratulations.
My dad started our business back in 1975, and we're really excited about our bizcost.com online platform. It serves a number of high-growth industries, and we have some other interesting projects. Dave, I'll keep you abreast of that. I know we follow each other on social media, so I'll include you in any interesting updates in the weeks and months ahead.
Oh, great. And speaking of social media and the internet, do you have a website for the Boyd Company so people can check it out and keep up with the latest about the Boyd Company?
Yeah, www.theboydcompany.com, and you can follow us on Twitter. Our handle is The Boyd Company.
John Boyd from the Boyd Company, thank you so much for coming on and talking about this important story that's been all over the news lately. You guys do important work all over the world for companies in a variety of different fields. It's always great to have your insight on the developments happening out there. So please come back soon, and thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, David. Congratulations on all the success of the show, and keep up the great work.
Thank you so much. That'll do it for us this week. We'll see you next time on The Turnpike.